Hello, this is Jason P. Wilson Zero in X-Force, and this is my video review of Image's 50 Girl 50, issue number 1. Now, this is a brand new series from Image, and what I understand, they're releasing the first story arc, and if it sells well, they're going to go ahead and release the second and third. So, I was very interested in this, mainly because I read a lot of comics, but most of them are hero books. And I was very interested in trying a good science fiction book. I love reading science fiction, I love watching science fiction, but I have not read a true science fiction comic book as of yet. So, that, and on top of that, I really did enjoy the artwork that I'd seen online, a couple pages of it, as well as the cover. Now, I wasn't knowing what to expect too much. I did have good feelings about it, and as soon as I read it, I did very much like it. It starts off with some action. You have this very classic-looking splash page here of a bug-like alien creature with some female astronauts in what I think is very classic-looking science fiction space gear. So I was enjoying definitely the art style and art direction of this book. Then you get a little more of the action, and their weapons aren't working, and you see that their high-tech suits are starting to melt, and then it cuts back to what's really going on, and it sets the premise of the book. Now, what's happening here? This is the future, and the Earth's resources are almost depleted. You're having rolling blackouts all across the planet, and vital resources, energy mainly, fossil fuels, and food are not able to sustain the population of Earth. It's just too much. So what happens is the world gets together, and they build spacecrafts, and they start to go to our local solar system, and they find minerals and other resources, but not the true resources they need. They need to find another planet that sustains life, that they can gather food from, and fossil fuels, and those kind of energy sources. That's what they need, and there's nothing near in our solar system that has that. So what they do is they put a team together to try and figure out what to do. And what they discover is that there is a wormhole. There is a way to travel to distant galaxies and solar systems very quickly. Normally it would take decades, and by the time they got back it would be too late. But they did find that there is a way to travel quickly through these wormholes. The only problem is that they find out that the chromosomes in men, they are not able to go through. They are not compatible with traveling through the wormhole. So they put a team of women together, but they find out even the women have too many male chromosomes in their DNA. So they also cannot sustain travel through the wormhole. But what they do find is there are specific women in the world that have enough of the female chromosome and not very much, if any, of the male chromosome, so that they are able to travel through the wormhole. Now, there are only 50 of these women in the world, and these 50 women all happen to be extremely beautiful, and they all seem to be extremely accomplished. None of these 50 women are unattractive and are not brilliant in one way or another. So right away, you would kind of dismiss that as, oh, well, that's just cheese. It's fun, but that obviously wouldn't really happen. But the more I read, the more I understood that there's a reason for that. In fact, there's 2 pages in the back of this book that explains, hey, you may have noticed that all the women are very attractive and they're very accomplished. Well, there's a reason for that. And there's also a reason that there's only 50 women in the world that are able to travel through this wormhole. And he also mentioned that these won't be addressed in this story arc, but if it sells well, it's a future story arc to come. And with that alone, that got me very interested in wanting this book to be successful. So I'm enjoying the story. In fact, the feel of it is very much like classic Star Trek mixed in with some Next Generation and some Voyager with some 1950s type science fiction mixed in there as well. All of that, but at the same time staying in original story. So 10 vessels are constructed, and at the head of these 10 vessels there are crews of 5 women. So at first I was like, hey, where's the captain? Where's the crew? I thought like all of these 50 women were going to be in one ship. No, 10 ships, each ship having 5 crew members, and those 5 crew members being 5 of the 50 women. Now, at first I don't see there really being a captain. There's a first pilot, a first navigator, a second pilot, a second navigator. Then there's a surgeon, and on top of that, I believe there was someone in charge of communications. But there didn't seem to be a true captain on this vessel. So that was a little different. So what happens here is it's about 5 years since these 10 ships were sent out, and they're all due back. And the first one coming back that's due back is this particular vessel, and she is on her way back, fully stocked. They've gone to many different worlds, gathered much resources, much needed resources for all the countries on the planet. And they take the wormhole, they come back home, and boom, they end up being not where they're supposed to be. They end up being here at this mud, very primitive looking planet, and Earth is nowhere to be found. So they're very confused by this. And I will try not to do too much spoilers, but I do want to show enough of you, enough of this comic and story, so that you will go pick it up. So they're like, let's figure out what's going on. Let's go ahead and send a party down to at least check out this planet while we're trying to figure out what happened. So they send a team down, and they end up having to crash land. Something in the atmosphere is messing with the shuttle, and they crash. And then they find out quite quickly that with their extreme high-tech alloys and plastics, it all seems to be being corroded and melting, just turning into nothing when it comes to contact with this planet. The planet's mud and the planet's air and atmosphere, it's all just corroding these high-tech plastics and metals into nothingness. All their high-tech, their weapons, everything is just turning to nothing. So again, I was very attracted to the art style. It's very colorful. Even though they're all attractive women and everything, not only are the women written very different, but they look very different. Usually when I read a comic and there's a bunch of individuals, all the men and the women, even though they're different, they have similarities, and you can tell, okay, they're kind of all drawn similar. But with this one, their faces, they're all very different. Their expressions are very different. I think they're able to get away with, the shape of the women all being attractive because of this whole connection. Somehow there's a reason that there's only 50, and they're not really telling too much of that. So that you're able to understand. But you really get a feel of each individual character here on this first ship. They're very different. They have very different styles. They look different. They're from different parts of the world, and they look and act like it, which to me was a nice touch. So basically they're trying to rescue them, and because all their high tech is completely useless to them, they end up having to find more primitive ways to survive on this planet. The planet seems to be dominated mostly by bugs. and very primitive type things. So I don't want to show too much more here. I'm kind of skipping ahead, but you find out something at the end, some kind of twist at the end that kind of really makes you want to know, okay, I thought one thing was happening, but something else seems to be happening. Very interested. I'm going to go ahead here and jump to that. Oops, I don't want to show that because that would spoil everything. Show some of these pages here at the end. It's basically saying, hey, this is the characters. We thought this out. You might notice that they all have similar attractiveness, similar brilliance. They're all very accomplished. Why are there only 50? Well, we just want you to know, as to the reader, there is a reason for this, and if this is successful, we will explain that. For right now, they kind of break down these 5 crew members, to break down their ship, and their whole idea of this story. This is something that these creators have been wanting to write for quite a long time, and even by the first issue, it's very clear that it's a well thought out and well executed book. And I've only read the first one, but it kind of feels like this is the quality you're going to get from start to finish. So with that, I hope I didn't spoil too much. I definitely didn't spoil the middle and the ending. But I definitely recommend this book. 50 Girls 50 is a book that anyone and everyone should give a try. Pick up the first issue, read it. If you like it, you're welcome. If you don't, at least you gave it a try, and you gave this brand new series a boost, because I'm already a fan and it's only one issue. Yeah, with that said, that's my review. I would give this the highest rating. I guess I'll do stars. I haven't figured that out yet. But out of 5 stars, I give this 5. I'm very interested in the upcoming issues, and I very much hope that it is successful, so that I can see the continuing story arcs. So I recommend you go pick this up, and thanks for watching. And if anybody out there has already picked this up, hey, let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you think this is a book that definitely should be excited about? Let me know. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.